The Xfinity Series field just made a mockery of Martinsville Speedway. I agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr. This racetrack is historic in the grand scheme of all things NASCAR and deserves better. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to a Saturday night instant reaction episode of Out of the Groove. I just got done watching the Marine Corps 250 at Martinsville Speedway. That's a badass name for a NASCAR Xfinity Series race. The Marine Corps 250. That's hardcore. That's outstanding. I love that. I did not love the vast majority of this race. I am not opposed to full contact stock car racing, Rubbins racing. God gave stock cars four fenders for a reason. The occasional bump and run, oftentimes fair game. But things went too far tonight at Martinsville Speedway. The paper clip. Things went way too far. Perhaps there was a good reason the NASCAR Xfinity Series didn't race at Martinsville Speedway for many, many years. If you didn't watch the race, or maybe you only watched the first half and saw Connor Zilisch sweep the stages, let me show you this little graphic. Look at all that yellow. More yellow than green in stage 3. Over 100, I believe 102 caution flag laps today at Martinsville Speedway, most of those coming in the second half. There was even a red flag for a huge crash towards the end. There was a huge crash as cars crossed the line. I don't think there's a single car in the field without significant cosmetic damage. Harrison Burton was driving in the top 15 with the damn front splitter gone. Again, I'm cool with some contact. If you're better than the guy in front of you and he's been blocking for a bit, you want to bump him, push him up out of the groove, no pun intended, fair game. If they want to door you back, fair game. What isn't fair game is routinely shoving your car into an opening that doesn't exist, or shipping someone in front of you that then ships 4, 5, 6 cars ahead of them. I tweeted this earlier, but I'm serious. A lot of young drivers, prospects, plummeted down my hypothetical draft board tonight. Austin Hill, I know he's going to make a few Cup Series starts later this year. What the hell was this? He apologized for it after the race. Fair game, said he's going to make some phone calls. All right, I hope he owns up to it. But what the hell? What is he doing? I get that the guy in front of you kind of cut you off. That's no excuse to ship him and wreck multiple cars up ahead. Patience is a virtue. Sam Mayer about a year ago was wailing about not getting Cup Series consideration. Sam, this is why. I get that the 10 and the guys in front of you got a little jacked up. You got to cut him a break. He just pushed right through him, caused a multi-car wreck. Dude, T-bone, major contact, completely avoidable. Sam, what are you doing? And don't even get me started with the finish of tonight's race. Second to last restart, Sammy Smith pushes the leader, Taylor Gray, up wide, takes the lead. Taylor Gray had controlled most of the second half of this race, been very good, executed every single restart, but Sammy Smith said, nah, I'm just going to push you out of the way. Okay, why not? As expected, on the final restart, Taylor Gray gave it right back, but did it even cleaner, allowed them to race door to door for a lap and a half. Taylor Gray retakes the lead fairly. So how does Sammy Smith respond? By shipping it into turn 3, no chance of making the corner, pile drives the back of the 54, wrecks them both, stacks up the whole field. Austin Hill, ironically, who I criticized earlier, gets the win. I mean, good for him, I guess. Someone had to win this train wreck. I guess it should be him. That was a disgraceful display of driving by Sammy Smith, another young driver who just plummeted down my draft board. Never going to see the Cup Series driving like that. If I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr., I'd consider parking him for a week. A disgrace to the number 8 on the side of that door. I know I've singled out a few incidents, Austin Hill, the Daniel Dye Sam Mayer, the Sammy Smith at the finish, but there were so many avoidable incidents tonight, even moments that TV didn't fully zero in on, but just guys dive bombing 3 wide and shucking the entire outside lane up wide. Like, just no racecraft for much of the night. Second half of this race, any and all racecraft was thrown completely out the window. And that's why I agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s sentiment here. This racetrack is historic and NASCAR deserves better. Much of the race tonight was not good, was not even racing. Takes no skill to do what Sammy Smith did to Taylor Gray in the final corner. It's a total cheap shot. It's the same thing that Austin Dillon did at Richmond last fall. It's a desperate move. And what did I talk about on this show a few weeks back? Desperate moves need to be penalized, need to be erased from the sport by and large. Denny Hamlin tweeted tonight, "It just takes one penalty and it would stop this bleep. For the short term, that is. Gotta send a message." Denny Hamlin put out a few solid posts tonight. Earlier in the night, he said Martinsville is a track that could use a avoidable contact penalty, and that's what I'm getting at. I hate to have NASCAR officiate more ball strike subjective calls, but we've reached a point, especially at tracks like Martinsville, especially with series like the Xfinity Series, so many young, inexperienced, desperate drivers, we've reached a point where I think NASCAR does have to step in. If other local short track series can watch a wreck and say, hey, you caused it, that was completely avoidable, you're going to the rear, or one lap penalty, whatever. If other short track series can do that, NASCAR can do that and should do that, at least at the short tracks going forward. When Austin Hill shipped the entire inside lane earlier in the race, he should have been sent to the rear for that. Shouldn't have been allowed to keep his position. I know he wrecked and basically got penalized anyways, but when Sammy Smith absolutely overdrove turn 3, blatantly took out the 54, that should be a penalty. In fact, he should be, I don't know where he ultimately finished, but they should put him tail end of the lead lap for that move right there. A bump and run here and there, racing door to door, no penalty. But if you overdrive the corner, completely take out the guy in front of you, you should also face punishment. The guy you just wrecked is going to the rear. At least you should join him in the back of the pack. Honestly, might make for some good action, more opportunities for retaliation and beating and banging. I mean, hey, NASCAR, this might actually be exactly what you're looking for. Denny was on fire tonight. God, I wish I were in the booth. I'd get fired, but I damn sure would call these idiots out. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. And I'm not a race car driver, obviously. I'm not saying I can do half of the things these race car drivers can do behind the wheel. I can't. I know that. But I've also watched enough quality stock car racing at Martinsville to know how it can be done. And tonight, it was not done well by the vast majority of young drivers in the field. I care way too much about NASCAR, the quality of short track racing, to not call these guys out. And I think Denny Hamlin feels the same way. That's my takeaway from this race. This was the last straw, in my opinion. I'm tired of guys making overly aggressive, desperate moves, cleaning out their competition and facing little to no repercussion. I saw after the race, I think maybe it was Jordan Bianchi, someone posted a video of Taylor Gray confronting Sammy Smith outside the infield care center, but they yelled at each other for a minute. There was no physical confrontation. And the way NASCAR often penalizes retaliation, I doubt we'll see Taylor Gray do anything dramatic to Sammy Smith on the track, because that is when NASCAR will officiate. They won't officiate the initial incident, but they sure as hell will scrutinize the retaliation. So, I saw them, they talked it out. Nothing came of it. Nobody learned a lesson here tonight. No one. Even Austin Hill. Austin Hill had one of the worst moves of the night, won the race. Walks out here with the trophy and $100,000 extra courtesy of Xfinity. That's the problem with not punishing this style of driving. If the owners won't hold these rich kids accountable, then NASCAR race control should. I know that if NASCAR does start to officiate these types of incidents, they might get a call wrong every now and then. There might be a tough one where, that guy came down, but yeah, this guy overdrove it. Who should get the penalty? They might get some calls wrong. There might be some controversy there. It's a risk I'm willing to take, though, because races like tonight make the sport look horrible. This is humiliating for stock car racing. NASCAR wants to be taken seriously? They want Formula One drivers to come make NASCAR Cup Series starts. They're going to see what Austin Dillon did at Richmond. They're going to see what Sammy Smith did tonight. They're not coming over here. If I was an F1 driver, any international driver for that matter, I'm not touching Martinsville Speedway with a 100-foot pole. I'm not touching any short track for that matter with a 100-foot pole. Leave me out of it. This race was decided by non-racing maneuvers. That's the kind of desperate move that NASCAR should absolutely penalize. And I hope one day, I talked about my hypothetical draft board, I hope one day owners start to hold these drivers accountable. I mentioned Dale Jr., Junior Motorsports with Sammy Smith. Nothing's going to come out of it. I'm sure he'll get chewed out in meetings this week, but that's the end of it. Sammy Smith has a check. Most of these young drivers bring millions of dollars to their respective teams, so I don't think the owners are going to change it. It has to come from NASCAR race control, unfortunately. But tonight was the final straw. I think we do need to see harsher officiating at short tracks, especially a place like Martinsville. Goodness gracious. Did y'all hear Lane Riggs's comments after last night's Truck Series race? I wish I'd transcribed them out. Lane Riggs is a short track guy. He's worked on his own stuff. His father, Scott Riggs, of course, raced in the NASCAR Cup Series for many years. And he said straight up, I don't like Martinsville, at least not when it comes to NASCAR. He called NASCAR racing at Martinsville, quote, really sad. That should tell you all you need to know about the state of Martinsville racing, especially in the Xfinity and Truck Series. All right, I'll leave it at that. I'm done ranting for the evening. I got better things to do, better ways to spend my Saturday night. I'll see you guys again Sunday. I can't go, though, before I shout out veteran race car driver, friend of the show, Brennan Poole. Top 15 at Homestead last week, 4th place tonight. Alpha Prime Racing doesn't have a leased motor. That's a 25th place car at best. He ran top 15 most of the night. Good tire strategy, played it smart, kept it clean on all of the late race restarts, finished 4th. Brennan Poole, how old is Brennan? 33 years old? Owners out there, you tired of these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids tearing your equipment up every other week? Brennan Poole, man. Brennan Poole, get a veteran like Brennan Poole. Finish top 5 tonight in the 44 car with all 4 fenders still firmly attached. I am just saying. That was the only saving grace for me tonight watching this race was Brennan Poole, my guy, running top 10, then finishing top 5 amidst all the chaos. He was in the center of it all night long, didn't trigger a single wreck, barely got a piece of any of those wrecks. Veteran drivers, man, they bring a ton of value to a lot of teams, especially in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just saying. I'll wrap up with that. That's my takeaway. There's a reason before tonight, I think Eric Almirola, another veteran, had won back-to-back Martinsville Xfinity Series races. I'm just saying. Veteran experience, taking care of equipment matters. I hope more and more owners see that, and hopefully the economics of the sport eventually balance that out. Anyway, that's my final takeaway. Wanted to rant for a few minutes, couldn't let this race go by without comment. That's all I've got. Let me know in the comments below if you agree that we should start officiating the most egregious moves going forward, at least at the short tracks. Do you think that's an overreaction? What'd you make of tonight's race? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'll talk with y'all again tomorrow after the Cup race, hopefully a bit cleaner than tonight. Have a great rest of your Saturday, folks. Take it easy.